In this video, we'll discuss how your face reveals a path to a longer life and how ignoring your facial features in relation to how you live can actually shorten your life. Enjoy. Hey everybody, welcome back to another face reading tutorial video today. I had a subscriber ask a pretty good question yesterday, I believe, and I'm actually making a video for tomorrow's video, which will be Thursday's video, which is today if you're watching now. So the question was, what happens if we don't live out the features that our face is carrying? It's a very good question, and it's one that's central to face reading in general. So the way I can frame this is to look at Yin Yang Theory, which I talk about quite a bit in my content. The thing I want you to understand about face reading and Eastern philosophy is they definitely operate from the precept that there is a design and order to the universe. So that means there's a design and order to the human body, there is a design and order to the cosmos, to the external world, to our psyche, to our spirit. Things are designed and ordered to a degree. It's not all just random chaos. So the trick is, how do we figure out how to decipher that inside of the human experience, which is not particularly easy because we're very rational, we're very critical thinking. We are a blend of needing analytical information and also very much in need of spiritual intuition and emotionality. So with all of that being said, one of the things I want you to think about is this. When we look at Yin Yang Theory, the light side and the dark side. The light side represents Yang, that is the masculine, active, bright, hot, aggressive force in the universe. And then Yin is the passive. This is the water, the feminine, the creativity, the mystery, the allure, the softness of life. So with those two polarities, the basic overriding thinking is that we need a balance of Yin and Yang polarities expressed in our lives to be optimal human beings. To understand the order of the universe and therefore ourselves, we have to pay attention to yin and yang rhythms, which is why I always encourage people in any facet of life, look for oppositional counterpoints to how you see the world and try to find common ground between you and the other thing that appears to be opposite. The yin yang symbol has the seed of its opposite in the other. The white side has a speck of black and the black side has a speck of white. This is the potential seed for transformation. So in current times, you can look at this in the political sphere. People that were very left-leaning in the last 4 years have now become more right-leaning. And sometimes it goes just the opposite way. People change political parties. I saw this quite a bit in 2020. So the thing is, keep this in mind, because when we're looking at face reading, what we're really trying to do is look at the features on our face. Look at what they relate to in terms of elements. What does it mean in relation to our Jing, our genetic constitution, our Qi, our vital energy, and then our Shen, our spirit, and the expression of these three things. So the working order is, with face reading, what you're trying to do is, once you understand the features on your face, you're trying to live the lifestyle rhythms that associate with your features. By doing so, by doing that, the act of actually leaning into the very thing that you are living in a more naturally expressed state with less resistance. So this isn't to say that life doesn't have resistance. We all know that there is resistance in life. There is difficulty in life. There is hardship in life. Life is very difficult, but it's also incredibly beautiful. And we wouldn't understand the beauty without the ugliness. And so you have to understand that when we're looking at our face, part of what you're trying to do is access the grace, access the luck, access the ease. That is so important, and I cannot stress how important that is in terms of what we do here in the West, which is not that. We are very much, for the most part, grind, 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 push, 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 grind the wheel, as much as we can, 80 hours a week, 100 hours a week, burn ourselves out into exhaustion, and then we're worth something. That is perpetual resistance, or the other way to think about it is redlining a vehicle as hard as you can because it can. The life cycle of that vehicle is going to be less if we are driving that engine very hard. And so you want to think in terms of lifestyle and living expression of these arts. You don't want to redline the vehicle all the time. And if you're living out of alignment with what your features carry, you are starting to redline your vehicle a bit. the chances of you shortening your lifespan are greater. Now, there are no absolutes. There is nothing perfect. There's no way I can tell you exactly how long you're going to live or how many more years you're going to live or how much better your longevity will be. There's no way for me to quantify that explicitly. I can't do that. That's not what face reading is. But what I can tell you is face reading and the identification of your features is going to put you into that natural lifestyle expression, because each person is unique. Each of us has a very unique personality. Each of us has a very unique set of aptitudes, strengths, and weaknesses in relation to our health, our spiritual awareness, all kinds of things, different metrics. But we all have natural things that we fall into, things that we are naturally designed to do, what they would call the divine order. People are put here to do certain things, and you can identify that as something big or small, and that's where people get hung up on lifestyle stuff. Well, I'm not doing things as big as Elon Musk, therefore it has less value. You cannot think of it like that, and we have all fallen prey to it, myself included. So I'm not here to tell you that my shit doesn't stink, or that I haven't done that, or that I don't do that sometimes. I'm human. I'm gonna think like that, but the Eastern philosophy is very clear. Don't think of it like that. We are all representations of a larger whole, and so by living your features, you're going to find that ease and accessibility, and the resistance will find you the easiest. This is why human beings, we can default to, and most of us will be able to identify the negative within ourselves way faster, because life brings the negativity. Life brings the hardship. Life will show us some very ugly things, so we're not going to have any trouble finding resistance, hardship, and difficulty in life. Where we fall short is looking for the good. Where we fall short is finding the ease and the grace, and by living out your features, paying attention to what your face carries and living those rhythms, finding out which elements you carry and which lifestyle rhythms associate with those elements, understanding your genetic constitution and augmenting your diet, your rhythms, your rest around that is going to help you live longer. The name of the game with face reading and living out your features is Yang Sheng, life nourishment. How do we nourish life force? The East is excellent at this. They're so good at preventative medicine and saying, what are the things that we can do? What are the levers that we can pull that will nourish life force? If you nourish life force, the organism, the human being, becomes resilient, strong, fortified, becomes robust. That's what we want. And so when we are in our stride and we are doing the things that we are naturally designed to do, we find a strength. The basic easy example that I can give, and I'm kind of wrap this up here, is that when I was in college, when I was at university and I was studying to be an art major, I triple majored in sculpture, ceramics, and drawing. Sculpture was welding, woodwork, ceramics. I did metal casting. I've done a lot. Illustration, painting. I was doing a lot. I was geared up to be a old school, hands-on artist. And what I can tell you is that in that experience of pursuing art and doing that thing, I would go into the art studio at 8:30 in the morning because I had a lot of work to do. And I would go in there and I would put my head down, I'd put some music on, and I would start drawing a still life, or I would start getting into my ceramic sculpture, or I would start getting into that zone. And there were so many times where I would look up and it was 5 p.m. I had lost a day in there. I hadn't eaten, I hadn't had any water, I hadn't been thinking about anything. I was completely immersed in the thing that I'm kind of naturally designed to do. I come from a family of artists. There's an artistic aptitude in my bloodline, and there are people that are way better than I am, but I do have an aptitude, and there was an ease. Like that kind of output of energy wasn't hard for me in that space. It's like something kind of takes over, and we all have areas in our life that are like that. And face reading helps you find those things. That's what it gears you towards. It gives you a roadmap. I can't sit here and be like, well, your features mean this exactly, therefore that's exactly what you should be doing. This is why face reading is a co-creative process. We have to discourse. The face reader and the person is seen as a friend, a guide. I'm not here to dictate. I'm not a dictator. I'm not an authoritarian figure like, this is how it is. Get your shit together and do it this way. That's not how this rolls. My job is to say, hey, so theory says, tradition says, here are the patterns that often go with this, but because you are unique and there's always permutations and this is not a hard science but a relative and intuitive art, let's talk about it. Let's have a human-to-human, spirit-to-spirit conversation and see if we can get you to a better place given the information that I'm currently carrying. The face reader, the Eastern philosopher, the Eastern healer of sorts, And that word is very charged. I'm not going to get into that. But however you want to frame it, the East is about guiding through friendship and support for your fellow human being. That's really what it comes down to in any capacity. Pay attention to the natural rhythms. Look at the theory that has been established, the trial, the error, the observation over thousands of years, generations of paying attention to what has happened with human beings, and realizing that there's probably some congruency with you, what you're going through, and how you navigate life. Why? Because there are very few original ideas. The struggles that we go through, the hurdles that we hit, and the gifts that we have to figure out that we're carrying and how to express them is not unique. It's not special. It's not original. We all have to go through that process. So, long story short, your life and your life force, and which has direct ties to your longevity, are going to be diminished if you do not find your points of grace, ease, and accessibility in terms of what you are naturally designed to do. And again, do not get hung up on how big or small that is. You might be a great storyteller, and one of your things in life might be telling people stories at inopportune or random times, and you bringing light to that person. That may be an aptitude or a gift for you. But you do have to look, and you got to pay attention. And a lot of times what people say is, well, I don't know what the hell I'm good at. And it's like, well, cue the entry of face reading. That's part of the guide. It's like, well, here, let's look at the features. There's probably some patterns that have been reoccurring in the human structure. And maybe, just maybe, if you take a look at this and listen to what I have to say, maybe you can find some ease in your process. And that's what it's about. So hopefully this answers the question. A little long-winded, but I'm known for that sometimes. So in any case, if you got questions, whatever, put them down below. And thanks for your time as always.